It's McGraw in the morning on the Big 550 KTRS.
9:37 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Scott Sherman, you know from his show Night Court with Bull here on the Big 550 KTRS. Scott Sherman, let me ask you this question. Has Night Court been nominated for any awards recently?
When you say recently, you're talking about within the last, say, 6 days?
Sure. Okay.
Yes, as a matter of fact. Now that you mention it.
Let's make it a full week. What has Night Court been nominated for in the last week?
Second year in a row, Missouri Broadcasters Association.
Missouri Broadcasters Association.
2 finalist nominations.
Really?
Yeah.
For?
Best Documentary Public Affairs for the Tina Meyer bullying show that we did.
Yeah.
So that's legitimate.
Didn't I do that show?
Yeah, but, you didn't apply.
I didn't send in the
This
tape.
might be these award nominations might be more about who didn't apply than about who did.
What was the second award?
Okay, you may laugh. Best DJ.
Best DJ.
Best show host.
Best show host?
That's what they say.
By the way, we should tell people right before we came on the air, Scott Sherman was like, "Hey, are you going to make fun of me hosting the show because we just won some nominations?" I was like, I didn't know about the nominations.
No.
So basically, he's like, why don't you just mention to people that the show is nominated twice? No, first of all, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, all joking aside,
yes,
I love Night Court, and I love what you do, which is why you're on the show, because you really do bring an element to the law that a lot of people don't understand, and you make it understandable and, in fact, sometimes actually enjoyable.
Thank you very much.
Now, with that being said, let me tell you a story about the Missouri Broadcasters Association.
Okay.
And this is no disrespect to the association, which I don't think I'm a part of. I don't know. But radio awards are given to those that apply. So if you don't apply,
right, that's right.
You can't be nominated. Okay.
Yes.
And there is a radio station in town which shall remain nameless. But what this one radio station does, I won't even say that it's in town. I'll just say it was a radio station that I know of. Okay. What they do is they stack the newscast, if you will, right? So that normally the newscast will be 60 seconds, right? And it'll be the front page of the Post-Dispatch, basically, pared down. So they take all the news from our local hometown newspaper, take the lead story, and then, sort of doctor it up, and all of a sudden now this is their newscast. So they doctor the newscast. So they make it like 8 times longer, right? And they send people out to get tape and audio and all this and that. They record it and then send that in. And then whoever's monitoring the tape says, wow, this newscast is unbelievable. This is fantastic. They do this every day. This is amazing. These guys are the best. And then, lo and behold, they win the award, and then they go right back to the 60-second, let me read the front page of the Post-Dispatch newspaper for you every day. So I'm not saying you stack the deck.
No, I didn't know you could stack the deck.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to.
Oh, okay.
But this radio station that I will not tell you who it is, but I have worked at that radio station. And I'm not going to tell you if it's in St. Louis or not. But I am going to tell you that I have seen this done firsthand. And I'm like, that's kind of cheating, don't you think? But
it seems like plagiarism.
It seems like stacking the deck. But by golly, 7 Edward R. Murrow Awards. Once again, we lead the world in telling you how great we are.
We cooked all of our dishes fresh. Now, I'm not saying we're the best restaurant.
Look,
first of all, our restaurant is closed right now.
I'm not calling them Enron, okay?
Oh,
but I am saying that PricewaterhouseCooper got in trouble for cooking the books. Did they not?
They did.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being said,
So,
Scott Sherman, congratulations on those two nominations.
thank you, and we'll bring it home for the station, right? I mean, it's really, if you or Frank Opinion,
we're all for one and one
if,
for all.
Steve
But
Cochran, if
DJ
anybody had applied from here, I mean, real broadcasting people have to scoff at that. But the idea was, hey, I listened to the people that won, the names of the people that had won when I was down there at the lake last year, and it was ridiculous. People aren't any good. So I was taking them on to show that.
Does it really say DJ?
That's the category. It's,
DJ.
It's horrible.
So you're up against, like,
FM.
DJs?
Yeah,
Hey, it's 2 for Tuesday.
That's what we did. That was the name of our site, 2 for Tuesday. Hey, everybody. How's it
Hey,
going?
it's a double shot weekend.
Yeah, 18 before the hour.
From the racks and the stacks, it's the best on wax. How about another double golden oldie twin spin sound sandwich from the Big 550 KTRS?
And it is ridiculous, except for the fact that
What?
we legitimately did the shows. And
You legitimately did not stack the deck.
We did. I didn't know you could stack. I
Like
thought that
other
would
radio
be-
stations in town have done from time to time, who've won 19 Edward R. Murrow Awards, the best newsroom in the world.
Yes.
Pound per pound, we are the biggest newsroom in town.
That is true.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay.
Scott Sherman, what's this New York story?
New York City, like a lot of major metropolitan cities, has a crime problem. The crime problem has been going down over recent decades, and there's a lot of factors for that. One of the factors that...
By the way, I was reading today in the New York Times
Yes.
that 14%
Smarty pants.
of crime, 14% of crime in New York City is people stealing other people's cell phones.
Is that right?
14%. That's a lot. I mean, that shows you how crime has really gone down in New York. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So they have a policy. The police have this policing policy, and one of it is sort of stopping and frisking people. They say it's random to see if they're, I guess, carrying weapons or they're up to no good.
Right.
Now, a lawsuit's been filed, and that is going to trial, but a challenge by some of the people that were stopped saying, hey, this violates my constitutional rights under the 4th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. It's an unreasonable search and seizure. You're not stopping guys in $1,000 suits walking down, Park Avenue. You're stopping black kids who look like other people that do bad things, and some of these folks are tired of getting harassed. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court has sort of looked at this over the years, this idea of stopping and frisking, and that's an exception to the 4th Amendment. It's constitutional if the stop is legal. So the question is all about whether or not the initial stop is legal or if it's profiling. Well, there was a case about 6-8 years ago called Hibel versus Nevada. And that case was about whether the police had the constitutional protection right to stop somebody who isn't doing anything wrong to ask them for their identity. It seemed like a papers, please kind of policy.
Right.
And the court 5-4 upheld the policy. So since 2004, it's really been legal for the police to go up to somebody and say, hey, what's your name? Hey, give me some ID. And once that communication, that contact is legal, then the stop and frisk is legal. So I sympathize with these folks, and if there is a racial or any kind of profiling element to it, there might be some grounds. But as the court has given the police more power to stop and frisk, stop and identify, your constitutional rights aren't there as much as it used to be.
How is that any different than, say, a roadblock on New Year's Eve?
Those are constitutional when they're random. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you're in a car, and when you're given a driver's license, there's almost an implied consent. We have an implied consent statute in Missouri. Most states do. When you get your driver's license, you've already consented to the breath test and the walk and turn test. And as long as these roadblocks, these DWI checkpoints are done in a random way that's not profiling, they're legal. These things are less random. They seem more targeted. Hey, there's a kid with baggy pants. There's another guy with baggy pants who shot somebody. Let's see if he shot somebody.
Let me ask you a stupid question here.
Yes.
Well, why is profiling wrong?
I don't know that it's wrong, whether it's legal or not.
Why is it illegal to profile?
Because we have, under the 14th Amendment, the right for the state not to discriminate against us based on race, creed, color, national origin. Blame the people that passed the 14th Amendment in the aftermath of the Civil War. Blame the founders that basically, when they wrote the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, said this country is supposed to be a place where you get a fair shake. So it's not that it's wrong in the sense of it's ineffective. It may violate the very tenets of our country.
If the cop finds that a woman in her 30s robbed a bank, and 4 blocks away he sees a woman in her 30s walking down the street, is he not profiling that woman in her 30s walking down the street?
That's not profiling. That's based on specific information that there's a suspect. The fact that maybe if 30-year-old women robbed 90% of the banks and then they went on a sort of a spree of targeting 30-year-old women and stopping them because they might rob a bank,
right,
that's profiling. Does profiling work? It absolutely works. Look at it. Look at the Israelis. They haven't had an airline hijacking really since Entebbe. They haven't.
Right.
But they don't racially profile. There's tons of Arab people that fly on planes. There's tons of guys that look like the 9/11 hijackers that fly on El Al. They don't ban them. But there's difference between psychological profiling and racial, religious, ethnicity profiling. That stuff violates the Constitution. The psychological profiling doesn't. I'll leave it up to the experts to tell me the difference.
Well, all these people who do talk about profiling, I wonder if they'd be in favor of profiling, say, 12-year-old to 20-year-old white men who are walking into high schools and to schools. Should they be forced to go through a metal detector? Because, girls aren't blowing up high schools. Girls aren't blowing up elementary schools. So why not profile the white teenager and treat them differently because they're the ones committing all these terrible school crimes?
That's a great question. And last night I spent some time watching that HBO movie about finding bin Laden and the difference in the sort of psychological approach or the philosophical approach between how the CIA and FBI was trying to get information in the aftermath of 9/11. And the idea is sort of this. We can fight terrorism, we can fight crime, but we have an obligation under the Constitution for our law enforcement people, as well-intentioned as they might be, to do it in a way that does not trample on the rights that we are given as citizens.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the award-winning, nominated twice, best DJ in the state of Missouri.
Hey, everybody.
It's Mr. Scott Sherman. Scott Sherman, was the host of Night Court, which was at the daytime, and then it was the nighttime. Just nominated for 2 awards by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. Who was your sponsor, Scott Sherman?
St. Louis Home Retention Group. McGraw, what we have been through, and now the housing market's getting a little better, has been devastating to the value of people's properties. And some folks get behind, and some folks just can't afford what they're paying right now. You don't have to lose your house, and you can get your mortgage refinanced even if you're not in jeopardy of losing your house. There are federal programs. They were really sort of the payoffs that all of us got because of the nefarious acts of the people in the mortgage industry and all those crooks on Wall Street. And the St. Louis Home Retention Group, they know more about that stuff than anybody in town. A 95.3% success rate. That's right, 95.3%. That's almost a guarantee that if you qualify for one of these programs, the St. Louis Home Retention Group can help you not only save your house, but save your money. They actually should be called the St. Louis Mortgage Rate Reduction Group, but that would be too long. Call them. They'll tell you if you qualify, and they will save you huge money if you do. 636-527-5121, 636-527-5121, or stlouishome.retention.group.com.
Hi, this is Terry Hall.